We're in that uncomfortable zone. What is the price I am willing to pay? Not how much does it cost. What is the price I am willing to pay? And how would you define price?
Time, relationship.
Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. What is my contribution? Not a blame game. It's not your fault. It's not your job. My focus is on what is my contribution. I love this question. We've used this question before. What is the crossroads at which I find myself? When you're coming to a decision point, what a great question to ask. Because a crossroads involves at least two paths, right? And potentially more. So again, not a simple answer. You may be able or be called on to look at several scenarios. What is the question that if you had the answer would set you free? These questions come directly from the answer to how is yes. I think most of them are probably also found on the A Small Group website. Share a good resource for you. A Small Group is an organization that Peter started that frankly teaches people how to utilize the power of small groups. Michael, you ready?
I'm ready. You know, one thing that's interesting, thank you, Peg. If you listen to Michael Davis and some quotes by Peter Block, and listen to Peggy this morning, and some of you heard about, we talked about the strategic timeout process, where I encourage my clients and others to take time out of their business to think about things. So what did myself and Peter Block and Michael Davis and Peg Stookey all have in common?
Passionate.
Passionate. What else?
Teach.
Teach.
They're clear.
You do what you like.
Do what you like. Actually, think about the brain. Think about the picture that Peggy had of the anatomy where it focused on the brain.
You're
I'm
very smart people.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
answer.
Y'all think?
Focus.
I think he should get a candy bar for that.
There we go.
Can you catch?
Better takes candy from
Well, I can't even throw, so I'll give you another one.
Yeah.
Paul?
It's right on
Okay.
you.
Actually, what did all those things have in common, by the way?
Knowledge.
People think, right, Vicki? You got to take time out to think, right? Right, Michael? If you don't take time out to think, what happens?
Just chasing your tail.
Chasing your tail. You know, if you picture a football field and what's the fastest way to score a touchdown? Straight down the field, right? Thinking allows us to go straight down the field. If you don't take time out to think, you go out of bounds. Am I correct? Or I'm not a natural fan of football, but I do understand the game, right? So you have to take time to think. And for those of you that were here last week, I said, you know, my mom asked me what I did at the phone company. I said, Mom, they pay me to think. You know, and she was disappointed in that answer because she was born before the Depression. But think about it. We get paid to think, right? If we're going to be successful in our businesses, if we're going to optimize our potential, right? Because we want to optimize our potential, we get paid to think, and you have to think before you take action. I love the director's chair, Michael. Great, not only metaphor, but great picture of what we're supposed to do. Because successful people do things that unsuccessful people don't do. Right? You heard that probably a number of times. But you have to be able to sit not only in the chair and take action, but get out of your chairs and take action. But I encourage my clients to take action in the terms of thinking first. because they have to think about what they're going to be doing, not only in their business, but in their life. Because I think not only should we be strategic in our thoughts, but we should be, to be able to take action in our business, we should also take a look at our life. You know, I just passed the half-century mark this past summer, and so we get to reflect about where we're going. So let's take some time out. How much time do you want them to have, Peggy?
About a 5-minute exercise.
5-minute exercise. And you know what? Go back. Can you go back to one of your screens? Can you go backwards?
Rich, where do you want me to go?
On some of the questions. Okay. You know, I love the commitment question. You know, some of us got up very early to be here. You know, my perfect day would not be as getting up as early as I did this morning. But it's a commitment that I make to Peggy and to myself, more importantly, to be successful. So I want you to think about what commitment are you willing to make in your life to be successful. Because we do want to have the 80% shift, don't we? So just take a few minutes and think about what the commitment is, and then what areas of my life do I need to make commitments. And in my motto, I ask my clients to take 15 minutes a day, just 15 minutes to start, so that they can think about where their business is headed. And so just take a few minutes by yourself to think about your commitment and what areas of your life you want to be committed to. Wrap up in the essence of time. But I highly encourage you to take this mental exercise at least 15 minutes a day, and then maybe once a week, 30 minutes one time a week, and then maybe a couple hours one time a month. And if you do that, your business will be more strategic, and you'll actually save a lot of time in the process.
Thank you, Michael. We're gonna see Michael 2 more times for some more stop time, so don't go far away. All right, back to the anatomy of success. All right, so we talked about mindset. Of course, the eyes should remind us of vision, right? What wonderful, successful entrepreneur would not have their eye on vision? So let's talk about using vision as a tool for decision making. One thing I recommend is to begin by asking that wonderful question, what if? All right? So maybe the vision isn't crystal clear. Maybe it shouldn't be crystal clear. Maybe it's a good time to let a little clouds in. Ask some questions. Another way to say that could be maintain curiosity rather than certainty. Another great question. What if the opposite were true? I had a client the other day, and she's talking to me, and she's laying out the scenario, and she's telling me what is. You know, it was her story, right? It was her story. It was why things were the way they were. And I said, let's stop. I have a really important question for you. What if the opposite were true? Who's got something they're struggling with right now? Vicki. That's a 2 candy bar question. Come on. What are you struggling with? That you're willing to share.
Finances.
Okay. What if the opposite were true? What would it look like? What would it look like to you if the opposite were true?
Somewhat free, I think.
Okay.